We live in a world of duality, and this is reflected within us as both the conscious and the unconscious, the dark and the light. Society has programmed us to acknowledge the light within, to value the positive and good aspects of ourselves. On the other hand, we have been conditioned to deny, suppress, and even fear our darkness. But to deny darkness within a dualistic world can have consequences. The aspects of our personality that we repress out of fear of not being accepted in the world don't just disappear. Instead, they remain in the unconscious realms of the psyche, and Carl Jung refers to this as the shadow. The shadow influences our thoughts, emotions, and actions in ways we may not recognize, and if this realm of our psyche is left unexamined and unexposed, it grows stronger and more powerful, keeping us bogged down in uncontrollable, recurring behavioral patterns, as well as emotional and mental clutter. On this channel, I often talk about waking up to the illusion of the constructed mind-made self to instead realize the absolute truth of the self way beyond the illusion. And practices like disidentification from thought and stilling the mind can deliver us straight into the bigger picture of self. However, without an integrated shadow, we are not standing at the cause of our life, we are standing at the effect. And as a result, emotions and thoughts can be sticky, heavy, and all-consuming, ultimately keeping us trapped within the confinements of identification with the little me. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. At all counts, it forms an unconscious snag, thwarting our most well-meant intentions. Carl Jung. Working with the shadow illuminates the unconscious realms of the psyche, the fragmented aspects of oneself that have been pushed away, denied, suppressed, and hidden in one's lifetime. This may be aspects of the personality that are considered shameful. It may involve feelings such as envy, jealousy, shame, and anger. Yet it can also include suppressed talents and desires. Through working with the shadow, we can shine the light on these aspects of self, bringing them to our conscious awareness, honoring the darkness within and accepting it as an intrinsic part of the greater whole. In doing so, we create an inner wholeness and unity. We find a level of non-resistance. We uncover deeper truth and find greater freedom. So how do we actually expose the shadow, and what practical steps can we take? So I find that it all starts with being absolutely, wholeheartedly, courageously honest with yourself about the thoughts, emotions, and feelings that you are having. So this requires self-observation. It requires witnessing thoughts, feelings, and emotions and becoming aware of mental and emotional reactions. Journaling, being introspective. You are going into the depths of your own darkness. So grab your sword and draw on your inner warrior and admit to yourself what you really, really, really do not want to admit to the people in your life. Are you envious of people's success, beauty, happiness? Do you have regrets? Are you embarrassed about certain failures, personal habits, perceived inadequacies? Do you have unacknowledged desires or fears, resentments, insecurities? Do you want revenge? Do you crave validation from others? Do you judge others or dislike others for traits that you dislike or judge in yourself? Do you feel inferior to others? Do you feel superior to others? And the list goes on. Importantly, remember that we are making these aspects of our personality known so that we can just let them be there. We don't want to resist or try to fix or change these aspects of our personality. We don't want to judge them because they're a crucial part of our personality in this lifetime. So we want to just accept them. We want to accept that they are a crucial part of the tiny mind-made me. Now, if there is something that is not working out in your life, an area where you are stuck, an area where you weren't happy with your reaction or behavior, is there an intense feeling or is your mind attacking you? Well, there is likely a shadow in there somewhere waiting to be exposed. But maybe you're not sure what it is. Maybe these feelings are trying to tell you something, but what could that possibly be? Now, there is an extraordinarily powerful tool that you can use to actually communicate with the unconscious aspects of your psyche, and it is a meditation called active imagination. This is a transformative practice developed by Carl Jung. The practice offers a doorway into the hidden realms of the unconscious psyche. Through meditative visualization, we give form and identity to inner thoughts, emotions, and aspects of the psyche so that we may interact with them more directly. Whether it's through personification, archetypes, symbolic landscapes, animals, scenes, or items. Through engaging with the unconscious within active imagination, we create a sacred space within the mind where we can actually give a voice to the shadow and converse with it through visualization and intuitive insights, allowing the unconscious to reveal its wisdom and truths. This practice really paves the way for deep revelations, and once you witness these hidden aspects of the mind-made self and hear what they have to say, you really cannot underestimate the profound ripple effect that unfolds simply by confronting these forgotten parts of the psyche and integrating them. Now, you may have doubts about the reliability of the mind's eye and the imagination, but Jungian psychologists claim that it is nearly impossible to produce anything in the imagination that is not an authentic representation of something in the unconscious. And we can clearly see this with our dreams that carry the secrets of the unconscious mind. I can certainly attest to the effectiveness of active imagination. I've had some really insightful experiences with it. And I would say that it's actually quite fun and interesting sometimes to see what the unconscious mind actually conjures up and the kind of visuals that you have in your mind's eye can be really quite interesting and almost entertaining. But obviously, bear in mind sometimes that this practice can also be challenging because you're facing some ugly stuff at times. To get started with active imagination, I really recommend the guided meditations that can be found on this YouTube channel, Make It Conscious. Simply head over to the Active Imagination playlist and dive straight in. Through active imagination, we uncover a deeper layer of consciousness, one that allows us to live more fully in the present, free from the constraints of unconscious drives or projections. Ultimately, it's a journey towards integration, where no part of the self is rejected or denied, but accepted with open arms. If you have trouble accepting these darker components of your psyche, then just remember that there is a perfection in their presence. These aspects are not flaws, but rather they are part of a larger, intricate whole that makes you uniquely you. The shadow is not something to be eradicated, it's not something to be ashamed of. It is something to be embraced because it holds the key to deeper understanding and growth. Just as light cannot exist without darkness, your shadow is essential to your wholeness. Through acceptance, you not only uncover hidden wisdom, but also move closer to the fullness of your authentic self. The perfection lies in the journey of integration, where every part of you, light and dark, has its place in the grand tapestry of your being. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. Now, I have come to know that it is not just people that have shadows, but relationships, spiritual traditions, cultures, communities, and pretty much everything in this dualistic existence. And so, of course, even Jung's shadow work has a shadow. I partake in shadow work intuitively when I feel called to. It's important that we don't become overly engaged and preoccupied with working on the psychological self, ultimately losing sight of the bigger picture. So my practice actually calls for a sweet balance between duality and non-duality. So these practices like shadow work and active imagination, they are fabulous tools that can actually be balanced well with other practices like self-inquiry and this constant spiritual practice of presence and witnessing the mind and stilling the mind. So then we are also focusing our attention on practices that have a more direct focus towards realizing the primordial self. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.